September 1944. The war in Europe could have been over before winter. Supreme Commander Dwight Eisenhower sat with two reports on his desk. One detailed General George S. Patton's Third Army, which had just blazed an astonishing 400 miles across France in a single month. The other was from British Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery, who, for the fifth time since the invasion of Sicily, was demanding more supplies before he would continue his advance. The choice Eisenhower made in that moment would not only shape the final months of World War II, but would also send ripples through history, costing thousands of American lives. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most controversial decisions of the war, using Third Army records, declassified German post-war interrogations, and detailed operational timelines from the National Archives. We'll uncover the truth behind Eisenhower's strategy. Why did he consistently favor British caution over American audacity? Why, at the peak of Patton's unstoppable momentum, did Eisenhower order him to halt, diverting precious fuel and resources to Montgomery for the ill-fated Operation Market Garden? This isn't just a story about military tactics. It's a story about ambition, politics, and the immense pressure of command. We'll explore 5 critical battles where this dynamic played out, revealing a pattern that goes far beyond simple alliance management. Was Eisenhower trying to win the war as quickly as possible? Or was he playing a longer game with an eye on his own post-war political career? Let's rewind to that pivotal moment in September 1944. Patton's tanks were on the verge of breaking through the Siegfried Line and striking deep into the heart of Germany. His intelligence officers reported that the German forces in front of them were in disarray, a mere shell of their former strength. The path to the Rhine and victory seemed wide open. Patton famously declared he could be in Berlin in 2 weeks if given the supplies. But the supplies never came. Instead, Eisenhower made the fateful decision to back Montgomery's plan. Operation Market Garden. It was a bold, high-risk airborne assault designed to seize a series of bridges in the Netherlands, creating a corridor for an armored thrust into Germany's industrial heartland, the Ruhr. On paper, it was brilliant. In reality, it was a catastrophe. The operation, famously Dübed, a bridge too far, failed to achieve its primary objectives and resulted in over 17,000 Allied casualties. It was a staggering loss, a brutal setback that handed the Germans a much-needed propaganda victory and, more importantly, time. While Montgomery's forces were being decimated in Holland, Patton's Third Army sat idle, literally running out of gas on the side of the road. His momentum was lost, the element of surprise squandered. The window of opportunity to end the war quickly had slammed shut. This decision to halt Patton and fuel Montgomery is the central mystery we're exploring. To understand it, we need to look at the personalities involved. Patton was brilliant, aggressive, and relentlessly driven, but he was also a political liability. His infamous slapping incidents and outspoken nature had already caused major headaches for the Allied High Command. He was the old blood and guts warrior, pure and simple, focused solely on battlefield victory. Montgomery, on the other hand, was cautious, meticulous, and immensely popular back home in Britain. He was a hero, the victor of El Alamein, but he was also notoriously difficult to work with, often demanding seniority and resources that far outweighed his actual contributions on the ground in France. He represented the pride and political weight of the British Empire, a crucial but sometimes challenging partner in the coalition. And then there was Eisenhower, the Supreme Commander. His job wasn't just to be a general. It was to be a diplomat, a politician, and a manager of massive egos. He had to hold together a fragile alliance between the Americans and the British, two partners with very different military philosophies and national interests. Keeping the British happy, and specifically keeping Montgomery happy, was a key part of that balancing act. But was there more to it? As we dig into the archives, a compelling argument emerges. Eisenhower, a shrewd political operator, was already looking beyond the war. His ambition didn't end with Germany's surrender. He had his sights set on the White House. A public feud with a celebrated British hero like Montgomery could have been politically disastrous for his future aspirations. Sidelining a controversial American general like Patton, however, carried far less political risk. The tragic irony is that by playing it safe politically, Eisenhower made a massive military gamble that backfired spectacularly. The time Germany gained after Market Garden was not wasted. While the Allies were regrouping from their failed Dutch adventure, Hitler was planning one last, desperate offensive. He gathered his remaining panzer divisions and launched a surprise attack through the Ardennes forest in the dead of winter. The Battle of the Bulge, as it came to be known, caught the Allies completely by surprise. 4 weeks, American forces were pushed back, surrounded, and subjected to some of the most brutal fighting of the war. It was Patton's Third Army, the very force Eisenhower had halted just 3 months earlier, that ultimately came to the rescue. In an incredible feat of logistics and command, Patton disengaged his army from the front, wheeled at 90 degrees, and marched it north through blinding snowstorms to relieve the besieged 101st Airborne at Bastogne and break the German offensive. Patton's genius saved the day, but the cost was horrific. The Battle of the Bulge resulted in over 80,000 American casualties, including 19,000 killed. It was the single bloodiest battle fought by the U.S. in World War II. And the heartbreaking truth is, it might have been entirely avoidable. If Patton had been allowed to continue his advance in September, if he had been given the fuel to cross the Rhine when the German army was on the verge of collapse, it's highly probable the Battle of the Bulge would never have happened. The German army would not have had the time or the resources to regroup for such a massive counter. So we are left with a sobering conclusion. Eisenhower's decision in September 1944 was not just a strategic miscalculation. It was a choice that prioritized political expediency over military opportunity. In trying to manage his alliance and protect his own image, he inadvertently extended the war by several months. Every casualty notification that arrived at an American home between December 19 and the final victory in May 1945 can be seen, in a way, as a direct consequence of that single decision. It's a receipt for the choice to favor caution over speed, to halt a winning army, and to give a battered enemy the one thing they needed most: time. This re-examination of history isn't about tarnishing the legacy of a great leader like Eisenhower. He carried an unimaginable burden and ultimately led the Allies to victory. But it is crucial to understand that even the most celebrated heroes make mistakes, and that the pressures of politics can have devastating consequences on the battlefield. The story of Patton, Montgomery, and Eisenhower is a powerful reminder that in war, the most direct path to victory is often the boldest, and that hesitation can be deadlier than any bullet. Thank you for watching. If you found this deep dive into World War II history interesting, please hit the like button. Subscribe to our channel for more content like this, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. See you next time.